You know what it is? To me, it's just the sheer audacity of the thing. That's what it is. I was just watching this thing down in Georgia, this with what's going on with voter ID, right quick, and it's just a sickening thing to behold. It's an amazing cynicism that they're running. It goes way past hypocrisy, which is what an individual character flaw in the case of a person who can't live up to the rules that they're espousing. Right? No, this is institutional in uh, socialist ideology and party tactics is what's going on down there. The left has had over a century of opportunity to stand up against an ID of any sort. They could have started with a driver's license in 1903 if they wanted to do something like that. If they wanted to take up that principle about voter ID, there is a much deeper principle involved here. It runs right through the Social Security system, which they all vaunt so well. But all of this stuff is endemic to socialist ideology. And now they pop this ridiculous argument in Georgia about voter ID inhibiting. It's a racial maneuver to suppress the black vote. Jim Crow 2.0. For God's sake, just go read about Bob Moses getting his head beaten in when he just even tried to register to vote in Alabama in 1961. And you know what? People who really went through Jim Crow at the hands of the white democratic governments down there had to go through. And now these people, all while this whole silly cancel culture thing is going on, they're attempting to eradicate known history, which would be valuable to teaching some of these lessons children. They're going to stand up and claim that sort of heritage for this kind of a maneuver when all it's really about is pumping imported voters into one of the battleground states and smashing up the Republicans as hard as they can. I want to run over to something that I saw at Blaze TV. Is Stu Bergieri is asking a question about this. Of course, I'm pretty sure he knows the answer at least as well as anyone.
We've seen this now where the media is getting involved with them on the left. They're just like cheering this on as if this is the thing you're supposed to be doing. And CBS wrote an article basically saying, here's the 3 steps you could do to hurt Georgia and their law. We're going to outline the activist steps for you to take to help this battle. Like, what the hell is that? That's not news.
Crazy.
It's not even close to news.
No, it's not even close to news. It's not supposed to be. It's ideological complicity. They're in on it. And why wouldn't they be? They were cultured at all the same schools. It's the culture. We're looking at least 2 generations that have been stuffed full of socialist ideology in the universities. And now they've chosen different work paths, some in the media, some in the governments that are doing this, some of the politicians that are doing this. In the government, you have the administrative layer that never come and go the way the elected politicians do, but all of them have been reared on the same collectivist ideology, and they believe that this is the right thing to do. And part and parcel of that ideology is the idea that anything goes. The ends justify the means. Imagine what they could do with power if they really got their hands on it. Imagine what they would do. What wouldn't they do? The history of the ideology teaches hundreds of millions dead, murdered. Now, do you think that's a conceptual stretch? Well, I submit it's a lot tighter logic than this ridiculous, silly-ass claim of Jim Crow 2.0 in Georgia behind something like this because it can't hand out water bottles, 150 feet from the door of the polling joint? The question is, who's buying this crap and why? Are you in on it for some ideological reason? What do you think you're going to get out of it? I can see that the big players like the Major League Baseball, oh, Lord, what have they done? I might have to do a whole segment on baseball and how it's gone to hell and then this. All right. But what are these big players doing? Well, if history teaches us anything like the history of Nazi Germany, the big industrial players thought that they could get in on the power and exploit it to their own purposes, not realizing how it was going to destroy the culture, their consumer base, and all of that. industrial capacity, when the economy begins to grind, it finally does. When it grinds to a halt and then crashes, right? They didn't think about any of that. All of them thought at the top, they all thought they were going to slide in on the deal. It's not going to work that way. None of it's going to work that way. And think through what they wouldn't do after something like this kind of audacity, after something like this. What wouldn't they do?